under a civil union, would we be able to own real estate under ownership by the entireties?
Yes, yes.
And so just for those of you who are not familiar with that concept, the presumption under law is that all the property that a couple in a marriage acquires during a marriage is considered joint property by the entirety. So if you buy a car as a married couple, even if you buy it in one person's name, it's considered joint property of the married couple. If you buy a house, it's considered joint property of a married couple. And when one dies, it's the other one just to keep it in its entirety. And there are anti-nuptial, prenuptial agreements that can change that, but in the absence of those agreements, that's the law. And the civil union couples, that would be the same thing. So if you're a civil union couple on June 1st, if you buy a home on June 2nd, if you take on a debt on June 3rd, if you do anything else, suddenly that becomes the asset or the liability of both parts of the couple.
Just one point of clarification. The question was asking is there's a special statute dealing with your home that you own, you can put in what's called tenancy by the entireties. It's an innocent spouse statute, and the reason that she's asking is if you own a piece of property by tenants by the entirety, and let's say your partner all of a sudden goes to the track and runs up a $400,000 debt, they can't take your house. They have to have a judgment against both partners. And that's different than a house that would be in what's called joint tenancy, in which case a creditor could attach a judgment even if they have a judgment only against one partner. So it's something you want to speak about with your attorney once the civil union law becomes, because it gives you much greater protection on the piece of real estate that you own in case your spouse does something crazy. So. It's, yes. The tenants by the entirety is set up for, it's called an innocent spouse statute. I have not looked at it, but the civil union should apply. I think it would be the exact same thing. It would be to protect the innocent partner for whatever goofy thing the partner decides. Because whether straight or gay, I can guarantee you someone at some time is going to do something they shouldn't do.
You have to be, it has to be legal. There are some qualifications.
Yes. Yeah, you have to have the equivalent of being married, you have to have title and tenants by the entireties. If you are living with someone right now and you have a house in joint tenancy, I would speak to your local attorney after June 1st to see if they can transfer title to tenants by the entireties because of the greater level of protection. Another area that's very important is if you end up filing bankruptcy and only one of you files, the house will be protected. So if there's equity, you won't lose that equity.
And one important nuance of that as well is that you may own property outside the state of Illinois, and other states may not recognize your civil unions. And if you own in Wisconsin, well, Wisconsin has civil unions light, but if you own in Michigan or if you own in Indiana, they don't recognize civil unions. They have very few protections for same-sex couples. So you do definitely need to speak to a local attorney about how you can protect your interests there.
And the statute is solely for property located in Illinois for Illinois residents.
Yep.
Yeah.
I wanted to say 3 things. First, thank you so much. I really appreciate how much work you've done. Second, I want you all to bring pieces of your wedding cakes here. We'll keep it in the freezer and we'll just have one big party this summer. Third, I'm interested in the civil union tracker. Has that been done in other states?
This was tested in New Jersey,
okay.
which was a state that achieved civil unions a few years ago. And Land Legal there with Garden State Equality, which is our peer organization in that state, they had done a civil union tracker to track the implementation of civil unions, to gather the data, and then go back to the lawmakers and say, here are the facts. Here's what happens.
What I'm hoping is that maybe we can learn by the experience of other states what to watch out for and how to be ready for things that may most likely happen.
Right, and that's why we work together to help implement this.
And I do want to say on a note of wedding cakes that this is not all serious business. Civil union tracker obviously is serious, it's impactful, and it's strategic for us. But as you get your civil unions and you have your celebrations, take pictures and send them to us. Send us your pictures, send us your stories. We want, you know, we sit in our office in Chicago, we want to celebrate with you. So send us pictures of you kissing under the chuppah, or of you breaking the glass, or of you dancing, and you know, and just celebrating your
Right,
relationship.
outside, inside.
Yeah.
With children, you know, however that works.
Yeah.
We both get our pension from here in Illinois, but we have since moved out of state to a state that does not recognize civil unions. If that buyback program came into effect, would that affect us?
Pensions are governed by Illinois, if they're Illinois pensions, and that will be offered to all who are covered by that program. So we expect that if that were offered indeed, then as long as you already are in the pension plan, that you will have an opportunity to do that as well. But we're still waiting on that answer, so we don't have an exact answer for you right now.
And I guess just to note, the civil union bill, you know, I think Bernard mentioned this, but the civil union bill isn't portable, let's say, in Indiana. So if you are, you know, if you do have a civil union in Illinois and something happens when you're on vacation in Indiana, and something happens to your partner, the protections that you have in Illinois don't translate to Indiana. So, you know, in some cases, just be wary, especially when you have children, or, you know, when you're traveling and something comes up. Just make sure that, you know, if you do have paperwork, that maybe you take it with you, or, you know, just those kind of instances, because we're still not at the point where these kinds of laws are portable to states that have no protections at all. So just, I guess, note to self kind of thing.
It is very important, and with Hawaii and Delaware passing civil unions law after Illinois, there are now 8 states that recognize civil unions. That's a great number, but that's 8 out of 50.
Right.
And there are.
I know not everybody can see this. I'll put this back on the table, but there's the difference, you know, with marriage or civil unions or, you know, domestic partnerships. You can still see that there's a ton of the United States that's just white, which means there's no protections at all. And it's just interesting to look at. I'll try and put it out in the back if anyone's interested. So, you know, there's still a lot of work to do.
And the point is, if you travel to any of the bordering states of Illinois, Iowa recognizes civil union, and Wisconsin recognizes civil union. But Wisconsin civil union only provides 7 benefits and protections, as opposed to 648 of Illinois. So you're right there, also limited. And all of the other states, as you're traveling through them, around, you know, surrounding Illinois, they recognize none of it. So you have to protect yourself. So even though we have a comfort here in Illinois, it's not portable. So do speak to your attorneys. Do get healthcare power of attorney. So if something happens to you, God forbid, when you're traveling to Florida or whatever, you just want that protection.
If a single person retired with a state pension but did not take the survivor payout, is it possible for them to then cover their partner?
I think that was a question that was asked earlier. Maybe it's a sort of a version of it. We are waiting to hear on how the state pension will play out, because state pensions are governed by a whole separate set of laws, and we're still waiting to hear from the relevant departments how they articulate their rules.
Do you know, has that ever happened with the opposite sex couple that you know of? That they've, like, I don't know, maybe they've...
Yes, you have to be very clear. Yeah.
Okay. So then that's just maybe
So
something,
hopefully
you know what I
that'll be-
mean, to keep it on the equal level.
I have some info on that, because I'm about to retire the Illinois teacher's pension, I'm not sure.
If you can wait 1 second.
Thank you. I have some information about the IMRF and the TRS plans, because I'll be going out on those in 19 more days. Once you have submitted your paperwork to them, they're going to ask for the paperwork, the license, they want that copy. You need to stay alive for 1 year until those benefits transfer to your partner. So I was told to cancel the skydiving. don't know, but I know that, once you submit that, it will not, the benefits will not, work until you've been alive 12 months from when they have it. Once they have the paperwork.
Hello, I have a couple things. One, I would be interested in knowing the best way. Is it through Lambda Legal to find I mean, I had a gay attorney before, but I think I'm a different one. And that's one thing. So attorney research, I'd like references for a good attorney. The other thing is, if ACLU is a federal, it's not, what do you call that? That's federal, but the civil union is state. So is there conflict between ACLU and civil union? And the other thing was, are civil unions public record?
So 3 questions. So the first question about Lambda Legal offering attorney referrals, I believe they do that, but you have to reach out to them in their Chicago office.
And I actually have their little bookmarks from the help desk, so that's also on the back table. You can call that and talk to folks at the Lambda Legal Help Desk. And that goes to for any kind of incidents that occur either with the Civil Union Bill or the Non-Discrimination Act. You know, that is why they're there. So please also feel free to take one of those.
And you want to answer the other? ACLU and civil unions. ACLU is a national organization, like Equality Illinois. It is an advocacy organization that lobbies and organizes people across the country. Their Illinois chapter, ACLU of Illinois, worked closely with us in Springfield and around the state on helping us develop articulate, persuasive arguments for our state lawmakers. They have a lobbyist who is basically resident in Springfield, along with our lobbyists there. And so they focus on that with us as well. I know they have a national marriage strategy as well, but they also understand that marriage down the road is great, but couples need protections right now, and the best way to get those protections next month was to fight the civil unions.
Right, and all these different organizations are clearly have a local, folks live here locally. They're not flown in, from another part of the country. So.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
just like marriages that and those counties who print in the local paper the names of marriages, they would do the same with civil unions.